Hi guys. How's everybody doing? I just had pizza, so sorry. Keep you guys waiting. Lint, you're from Wisconsin. 你是台湾人吗？从台北还是从哪儿来的？台中 Cool. Now I'm done, Alvin. I'm done. I'm done eating. So, okay, let's start this live stream straight away. So, you guys have any question that you need to ask me? I have something in the back here. I wonder if we can see this. Where's my chat missing? Lord. Okay, there's Hi Studio G. In Colorado. Wow. Yeah, okay, we are good. We are good. Hi Sammy from Germany. How are you? We're okay. We are ending this. Well, not really ending. We're gonna have this lockdown until the 1st of June. But I think by the 12th of May, I guess, there are certain things that's going to be relaxed. So we are able to go and get our donuts and stuff. Yeah, that's good news. Oh, Colorado. You guys have any idea what is this? Have you seen one of these before? I just got this like a couple of days ago, like yesterday. I didn't actually break it up. Hi, Charlene. What's that? What do you miss OST? I came here from Austria. Ah, that's Schwarzenegger is from, eh? Oh, it's cool. It's like a interface, like an audio interface, but this is SSL. So if you guys do not know what SSL is, SSL is pretty famous for its console back in the days, and they have like expensive consoles, like multi-track consoles. So apparently they have gone into interfaces, and this is relatively cheap, I think, and no fancy connection needed. This is just USB. Pretty cool. I'm gonna give this a try maybe next week. See how this worked out. I guess it's good enough for guys who just want to record at home. There's some of you guys, Hi David. I use what kind of strings? I use the Alderos and GHS. The gauges that I use are like 010s to 42s. Hi Kim. How you doing? Are you good? What? I'm hoping music will take me to your part of the world. Oh, cool. Yeah, not another toy for me. I already have a Apollo Twin, and that works for me because of the plugins. I don't know much about the plugins that is available. They are available for this unit. From the look of it, pretty cool. You have monitor levels, very professional looking. These, I guess, are brushed aluminum, real lightweight. Two inputs. I like this sort of jacks. These are like, they have like a XLR and a quarter-inch both roll into one. It's so cool. Save a whole lot of space. You know how I wish the HX Storm, the Line 6 HX Storm, and the Pod Go has these connections. This will be so cool, because you can always hook up a XLR out into your main house for the Pod Go or the HX Storm. The Line 6 Helix has that. It has two sets of outputs, so which is even better because you can have like two different outputs. Two different sets of stereo outputs. Yeah. Do I still use my HP Fusion? I still use it. In fact, I did a couple of recordings with it recently. Well, the thing about the HP Fusion, I don't know which one you're talking about. Are you talking about the HSH or the Fusion T? Because they both sound very different, And I love both of them. And they sound really good. Pulling electronic drums into Logic. I think, okay, I might be mistaken, but the Logic works as any DAW and as any DAW. So what you probably need is you could probably send the stereo out from your electronic drums. There's a module, right? If you have electronic drums, you would have a module. So stereo out into your interface is one way, but then you will not have the separation. If you need all your tracks, like your bass drum or your snare, to be separated, then you need to find a way out. Because I do not know what sort of electronic drums are you using, the Yamahas or so you might need to find and Google out, and Google more about it. Hi, David Campelli, Zampieri, Zampieri, yeah. I think Harley Benton T is 50 deluxe and the T, but which one would I suggest? Okay, did I spoke about this the other day about the TE70, the black paisley. I was really impressed with the black paisley because number one is the price. it's pretty affordable. It sounded decent with the stock pickups, but in the end I kind of swap it all to Seymour Duncan's. But that tally with the neck, it has if I'm not mistaken, it's a U-shaped neck. Could be wrong, but it's a bit chunkier than a normal C-shaped neck. But I love playing on it because it's so comfortable, for one, and it sounded like a tally. It does sound like a tally. It sounds like any Fender tally that's on the market, maybe even better because of the Seymour Duncan's. I forgot which pickups I use. You can check out my videos. The only drawback I can see is the finishing on the neck, because there's a whole lot of varnish in it, and I didn't quite like it because it's kind of sticky, so I kind of sand it down. I even have a video about the whole process of sanding my necks down, so you can check it out. And after sanding down, it felt really, really smooth. So I love playing on the black paisley. I think the black paisley is a worthwhile guitar to get. Yeah. Oh, the Super Strat. So, okay, the Fusion Pro HSH. Yes, I still play that. I still love playing on that. That guitar, to me, has a very distinct sound of its own. It's kind of nasal, like like this. It has this nasal overtone to it, which is so cool because I love the way it sounds, especially on the clean tones. And for the dirtier tones, like for full blown distortion, it sounded great. And because of the Seymour Duncans that I put in, I forgot what did I put in. Okay, now it's the time of the night, so my memory is kind of like shutting down. uh, what did I put into that? In any case, they sounded really great with distortion. So okay. The thing I gotta tell you is that the HSH, the Fusion Pro HSH, lacks weight. Okay, not just a physical weight, but the weight in the sound. It doesn't have that, that. It's not about the low ends. We're not talking about the low ends. We're talking about the depth of the guitar. It's lacking in that, and it has that, like I said, the nasal, the 1K region to say maybe about 4K region, and in that spectrum, it excels. The guitar excels in that, so it's really good as a lead instrument. But when you're playing like a full-on distortion chord, trying to comp it, it lacks the weight. The GL has it, GNL, and incidentally, coincidentally, it weighs a bit too. It's like 3.6 or 3.7 kg. So I don't know. Maybe there's a connection between the actual weight and the depth of how it sounds like. Yeah, so thank you, David Corley. Thank you. Hi, John Johansson. Nice to hear from you. See you. Whatever. Okay. Great, Kim. Yeah, as opposed to the Les Paul, I guess, because if you play the Les Paul before, you know that, Les Paul is really good for like comping distortion chords and stuff like that. It has that weight, and the guitar weighs. It weighs a lot. Some as heavy as 5 kg. So, Oh, yes, I know about it, Kim. I know you replaced yours with Fender pickups. That's cool. Are you still playing with it, Kim? Are you still playing that Bad Place D? Oh, that left. Okay. How many days? 4 days? At this situation, do you think you'll take 4 days? Unless the shop is really near you, JKU 2004. Do I have any distortion pedals? You do not have any distortion pedals. What would you recommend? Distortion pedals. You know what? I'll be very frank with you, even though my name is John. It's just so corny. Distortion pedals are like guitars. Pedals basically are like guitars. You need to try them out. So there are many brands out there. You actually cannot go wrong with Boss pedals. Seriously. I tried a couple of distortion pedals here. Wait. There's this one. Right, this is from. Can you see this? You've probably seen the video of this, which I did recently. This is the American sound from Joyo, the company named Joyo, but it's been marketed by Harley Benton, hence the name Harley Benton. So this pedal is so cheap. I don't know how much it costs. It's like super cheap, but it works like a dream. It works like an amp. In fact, you can actually plug it in, and there's the out is actually it has a simulated speaker out, so you can actually get by with this without an amp if you need to. But it also works just as nice to an amp. So, like I said, you need to try the pedals to know its capability and what it can do. And there are so many boutique pedals out there, and the reason why they're called boutique is because they're really expensive. And it doesn't mean that a boutique pedal or an expensive pedal has the best components to it. It doesn't mean that it will give you the best sound. Every one of us have different perception of what sounds great, So you have to try out these pedals and in a shop or whatever, plug it to an amp, whatever you're using, and get a similar guitar that you have in the shop, and hear how it sounds and how it responds to your playing. Because, some of the things that you look for in a pedal is the way it responds to your playing. You could get a real famous pedal, but Everybody's using it, everybody's raving about it. But when you're playing it, and, it doesn't feel right because it doesn't respond well to your style of playing, then that's not a pedal for you. So don't go compromising because of all the hype that people are like, talking about. Like, the old pedals like the Tube Screamers, the 808, TR-808. Now, those are nice pedals, the Ibanez ones. Yeah, Tube Screamer, is a legend. So a whole lot of people, including me, have used them in the past. But we have moved on to other pedals, and for me, I've skipped pedals altogether. I'm to my Helix, and I'm happy with my Helix. So my advice is to go down and try it. And if you want a pedal really bad but it's expensive, then just save up for it. No point spending money buying a whole bunch of cheap pedals and then you're not getting the sound that you want, and the resale value is like crazy. It's not even worth it. Oh, okay. You're in Sweden. Yes, 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 yes. You're right. You're right, Kill. It will complement your Les Paul, especially when you're doing double tracking. Les Paul on the left, the HSH on the right. It's pretty cool. When did I first discover GNL? Andrew Cordell. Uh, Believe you me, it was many years back. We're talking about back in the year, wow, 1997, 98, around that time. I was doing a gig in Atlantic City, and we had some time off in New York City. So I spent like 2 nights there. So caught a couple of musicals. I went to catch Miss Saigon. Yeah, incredible musical. But in my spare time, I kind of like walked around Fifth Avenue, and I chanced upon this quaint little Italian music store, and I forgot the name, Tony's or something like that. Yeah, it's a very Italian name, not Tony the restaurant, something like that. So they had a couple of G&L guitars, and all these are like this is back in 1998, 97. So all these are all American made, and the great guitars. But it was a bit out of my range, so I didn't buy any. I didn't bought any, so I came home. But my radar was up. Since I tried on one, I knew that the GNL guitars are like really top-notch quality, and they play really well. Just that they were back at that time I couldn't afford it. And when I was back in Singapore, I couldn't find any shop that deals with GNL guitars. It was much later on that there are a couple of independent sellers trying to push GNL guitars, kind of import these guitars and try to sell. But I wasn't too keen on them until like a couple of months back, like last year. Yeah, when I went out to this old shop, called City Music, and then I discovered that they actually bring in GNL guitars. So they're the sole distributor of GNL guitars in Singapore and Malaysia, and I was like, whoa! So I get to try all the GNL guitars there in the shop. You okay, so Dan Bo, what do I think about the Trio Looper? I have no idea. Haven't tried one yet. Seriously, I haven't tried a Trio Looper, so I couldn't possibly tell you how it is. I'm so sorry. I tried the TC Electronics, the Ditto, and also spent a bit of time on the Ditto 2. Basically, Ditto 2 gives you more time, more length, the loop length. I think it's stereo, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I like TC Electronics stuff. I think they're pretty well made. Good quality. How to spell Joyo? Joyo, if I'm not mistaken. That's how you spell it. Alright. The music is too loud, let me know, because I'm trying to like put some music behind so you won't hear my aircon. Oh, the HB ST90 Deluxe. Yeah, that guitar is pretty cool, right? I haven't tried yet, so you know. Actually, Joe, I actually requested for a couple of guitars to be sent to me for reviews from Harley Benton. One of it is the what you call it, the SG, the SG, or the Gibson SG. So I think they call it the SG Custom or something like that. So yeah, I'm just waiting for it to come to get over here because of this COVID-19. I guess DHL is not sending out to a whole lot of countries, including Canada, from what I heard. Lynn, you got two HP Fusion Pro. Whoa, cool. Need to polish the frets and make them smoother. I'm an old beginner, cannot tell how good and bad this. That's cool. Do you know how to polish your your flats? Do you know how to polish your frets? Yeah, there is a product that I reviewed a couple of videos back that makes it really easy to kind of polish your frets. And you can use auto saw if you don't want to buy that, but you need to have that tool where it's like a metal plate. I'll show you. So this is the product I'm talking about, friend. So basically, you need a sort of a tool like that. So the frets go in right in between, and you don't have to buy this because this costs quite a bit. You can always find a tool like this in AliExpress or any luthier, any shops that sell luthier equipment. Or you can't find this in a hardware store, no way. So what you do is that you put your frets in between here, right, in the slot here, and then you use the auto saw and just kind of polish it, and after a while it just be as shiny as it was in day one. The only thing that you need to know about your fret is when they get notched, meaning if it's a nickel fret, you'll probably get sunken in because of the amount of time you spend playing on it. That's why I actually quite prefer the stainless steel frets because they last a whole lot longer. Eventide H9. Oh wow. No, I haven't tried the Eventide. I love Eventide products because back in the studio when I was an engineer, I used a whole lot of Eventide stuff, predominantly the harmonizer. I love the harmonizer. It does everything. Yeah, I like the sound of the Overdrive Pro OD808. It's so expensive. Looking for cheaper alternative. You know what? If you don't have a place to kind of like a shop to try out these effects, if you're looking for an alternative, a cheaper alternative, Harley Benton they actually have a whole lot of pedals, at fraction of a cost. So you might just want to check them out. Hi, OK Live. Yes, Will. Any beginner's practice routine for someone coming from acoustic? I have the melody in my head but often lost on the fret when I try to improv or just play. Okay, I just had lesson with two of my students. I had one on the 8 p.m. and the other one at 9:30. So I just finished at about 10:30. Yeah, about 10. Yeah, 10-ish, 10:30ish. So for the last student, I was telling him about how to go about understanding, or rather how to do a kind of a routine instead of just doing your normal practice. Right, so what we normally would do is we will practice scales, can you see? So it's too far away here, right? So we will do like scales, like in the key of G. Kind of pector note. Right? So normally what we do is we'll do like a major scale. So what I like to do is, instead of practicing like the old boring major scale, I would like to compose music. So when I'm going like G, I would go like say, just pick out any random melody, da 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 da, right? And then you can add some chords in it. You can go like da 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 da, and just repeat that line. Then change another chord. This is a G over B. Da, 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 da. You can add like a chord that you don't normally play in the key of G. So in this case, I'm playing an F9 or F9 major 7. So I go again. Da, 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 da. Right? So you have that melody in your head right now. So now it's time for you to find the notes. Same thing, right? Then because you're hitting the E note, so you play the if you are playing the F major 7/9, you're fit. And if you don't want to end up in F major 7/9, if you want to end up in a chord that is safe, relatively safe, so you go da 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 da, like a C, and you'll still fit because you end up with the E note. So the line that you have just composed. Now, when you're practicing, try to find a different approach to how you go about playing that line. So I could do that, or I could. So in this case, there's no bending involved. I'm just sliding up the notes. Or you could just. So there are many variations of how you approach that phrase that I just composed, right? And then in between, you can do other stuff. You can go like. And these are all like adding little notes after each phrase, so that you kind of like are doing micro compositions upon your original compositions. If that's the easiest way of putting it. Micro compositions are on top of your original composition, and this is just one phrase. So when you have different chords coming, like for example, instead of a so when you can't apply that because it's a B minor 7. So you gotta find a note that will fit into the B minor 7. So stay in D. Da, 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 da. Then it works, right? And then you go changing. Da, 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 da. This is the C over D. So. Ba, da, ba, ba. So it's really interesting. So instead of like doing compose a little phrases in your head, sing it if you need to, and then kind of like get around to how it feels like, how it feels to have the melody with the chords that you just played. So if it feels good, then that's the line that you can concentrate on. And that will be the line that will be the main carrier, meaning this line, da, 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 this will be the line that will set the whole mood of the solo if you're going to do a solo, right? So something to think about. It doesn't necessarily mean a solo has to be real flashy or really, weird. Sometimes it's all you need to do is just to get a melodious line, capitalize on that. Capitalize, means you kind of like repeat again and make little infractions or little changes, and then you go along. You know what I'm talking about after a while, right? Yes, Bruno, you are absolutely correct. The pedals are just tools. You could buy a whole bunch of pedals, but ultimately it's your playing. It's the way you pick your strings. The way you hit your strings, the angle where your strings are hitting, are ultimately this will be the actual source of your tone. Nobody can sound like Van Halen, for example. Nobody can sound like Steve Lukather, or nobody can sound like Richie Blackmore or Uwe Malmsteen, because they are all very unique the way they play. So try to develop that uniqueness in your playing, not totally dependent on pedals. Pedals are generic because pedals are all man-made. Everything is the same. Every pedal is the same. You don't get a pedal maker that goes, okay, for this pedal, even though it's the same brand, I'm gonna put in a little bit more stuff in it. No, everything is the same because they're all factory manufactured, right? Whereas you are made from God. So God will say, okay, I'm gonna put this guy, put a little something into this guy. So maybe the way your fingers are, the way you curve your fingers, or the way your fingernails are being grown. There's so many things, right? Like maybe your skins are a bit tougher towards the edge. So when you're playing guitar, there's this slight overtone because part of your skin is touching the strings, stuff like that. So in the way you hold a guitar and your melodic sense, because all of us have different melodic sense. So don't hit yourself too hard when you find that you're hitting a wall and you just cannot develop a solo. It just takes time. I was like that. I was hitting the brick wall 365 days a year. I couldn't get out of the wall because I was like loggerheading. I couldn't get a breakthrough. Like there's my playing is so stagnant, until something happened, right? So when that thing happened, the dam broke. So yeah. Okay. Hi, Greg. How are you? Good to see you. Hope it's not too early. Hi, Ian. Hi, Guitar Journey. Yeah, right. Cool guys are always late. Yes, Will. I hope it helps. Jack Rabbit, when recording a 12-string part in a track, do you prefer a Nashville tune, and a standard tune, pan-hard, left-right, or one 12-string guitar? I have a preference, but in my opinion, it depends on the mood that I'm in. Sometimes I would do like real radical stuff, but those days are far and few. Sometimes I would record a 6-string on a, say, maybe a normal standard tuning, right? Say in the key of G. And for the 12-string, I might just couple up, one whole tone. You know what I mean? So I will have to play the F or something like that. Or, in fact, I should actually just couple up how many frets? G. Yeah, I just couple up 3 frets up, and I just play the key of E. And when I'm playing the key of E, I have a different voicing for the key of E, open chord voicing. So it kind of like sound real different from the normal G standard tuning. So this is one way of me doing it. The other way, of course, is like what you said. I use the Nashville tuning. Sometimes I would just, like in the key of E, there's a whole lot of stuff I can do. In fact, sometimes I don't even need a 12-string guitar. Sometimes I'll play the key of E in the standard tuning, and the other one I'll just play the open E. Yeah, interesting. Or I'll couple up 2 frets up and I'll play open D. Even more interesting. Is it D? No, no, wrong. I'll tune my guitar down 2 steps down. So I will play an open D but in an E key. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Now, I'm more familiar with the open D voicing on the guitar. So I'm kind of familiar with the open E too. So it depends on my mood, like I said. Alright, okay. Yes. Yes, we are uniquely made. We are all fearfully made, wonderfully created. Is the beat? Harley Benton SC custom. I'm a bit worried about the playability. Do you try? No, I've not tried the custom. Well, not exactly true. SC custom is like a Les Paul. I tried the SC custom lemon. I like the guitar. If not mistaken, it has the LAF humbuckers in it, and it sounds really sweet. I kind of like the way the guitar handles itself. Yeah. So don't worry about it. I mean, Thomann has a good return policy, so if you're not happy, you can always return it. But don't be one of those guys who just order like 3 guitars and return 2. Yes, you're right. There's no right and there's no wrong. Bruno, how do I get the same output from different so Bruno, you're the one who asked me this question a couple of days ago. I mean, just today, right? All right. So when you have the first question I will ask you: have you updated to 2.9 for your Helix? And after you updated to 2.9, there's a 2.91 that you need to update. 2.9 brings in a whole lot of different things to the Helix. So at the output stage, at the last point, you can actually see indication of where your output is at. How loud is it, and is it blowing the top? So you can actually gauge, and like, okay, just take it for example. I see whether I can get a screenshot out of this if I can, but I don't think so. It's kind of hard. In any case, for my multi effects, right? For my Helix multi effects, I will have 4 patches per preset, right? So I will have John clean, John semi clean, John distortion, and John solo. So John clean is basically clean. I have a whole bunch of stuff in it, which I can control individually. I have choruses, couple of choruses and delays. And then I have John Semi, which I'll choose an amp that breaks up a little bit, but really nice amps like the Fender Deluxe or the Fender Twin Reverb or the Placator or whatever, and I have a booster pedal before the amp, so I can actually boost up the signal if I want to. Then I have the distortion, where it's just ground, the distortion chords and stuff like that. Then I have the solo, where it's a full-blown solo, a distorted solo. So every patch has its own different volume levels, right? And you would want to kind of level it all together so that you don't have to worry about whether one patch is softer than the other, right? But in real life, it doesn't work that way. In real life, because of the intensity of the music, the climax, the dynamics of the band on certain songs, you're gonna like have a problem no matter what. And you can have it all calibrated to a sort of a common level, but like I said, every song's dynamics is different. So you can do that now with the 2.9 because, and like I said, in the output stage, you can actually have indication of how loud it is, and you can adjust accordingly, either through your amp master volume or your master volume. So once you get it all done, it's up to you whether you playing with your expression pedal, because I play with my expression pedal all the time. So I will stick in and out and stuff like that. So check it out if you haven't downloaded the new update, right? Okay. Yes, Greg. I went with the Gretsch. Oh, you actually bought the Gretsch. Cool. Cool, man. I'm so excited for you. And gunmetal. Oh man. Hi, Universal Blob. Hi, Ian. Hi, mate. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I hope you are well. Thoughts closet. Oh, I remember the question now. When mixing, do you like to use headphones, open monitors, or a combination of both? No headphones at all. I don't use headphones when I'm mixing. I'm old school. I'm so used to like mixing in the studio with my NS10s, Yamaha NS10s, and later on the Genelex. So I'm so used to hearing from the speaker. I'm so used to the sound. I'm not really used to hearing it on my headphones, even on my favorite headphones, because I know that it's not the way that listeners would listen, you know. But then again, I may be wrong because nowadays everybody's having their AirPod and their headphones on. So, but you know, I still prefer to hear it, you know. I still prefer the air. The speakers will move air. I still prefer to hear it, you know. And good and bad, okay. But even with headphones, you have the same problem. Sometimes your ears get blocked. Like mine will get blocked after a while, and ear fatigue comes in. So sometimes the right hand side will go a little bit softer than the left. So yeah. So I need to blow my nose every now and then to kind of clear everything and go okay. So I'm having this balance. But in terms of tonality, like you know how to tune or whether to EQ my guitars, you know whether is it too bright or the vocals is it too compressed, I have to depend on the speakers. There's no way I'm gonna depend. I have guys who mix with the headphones, and and the best part is that they mix on the headphones with the headphones, but when they play back to me in the studio, it sounded great. So I don't know how they do it. You know, it takes experience, I guess. Right. Guitar journey. Hey John, which key do you prefer writing in, major or minor? Both actually. You know what? When I was teaching guitar classes, I always like to tell my students how a certain chord would kind of like define what sort of mood you're in. Like a major chord, like you know, it's like not really a happy mood, but just I'm okay. I'm feeling fine. A major seven is like, dude, I'm in heaven. You know, I'm in love, or I just smoke a stick. You know what I mean? So major seven is like a dreamy mood. The minor, it's like my dog died, the washing machine broke down, stuff like that. Or a minor seven where you feel funky, you feel jazzy, you feel like you just want to go party. That's a minor seven. And all these chords have different emotional impact on the listener as well as the player. So this is what I always felt, and I have no preference. I could write in major seven, or in minor seven or minor key. Yeah, it don't matter to me. Hi, Luis. Hi, Andre. Thank you. What's this? Any chance? Are you asking me? David, are you asking me whether I'll go up to Italy again? Oh man, I miss Italy so much. I love Italy. I used to have an Italian flag somewhere here. It just kind of came off. I guess my favorite Italian city. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of torn in between Torino and what's the other place? Reggio. No. Between Torino and Rome. Rome because of gelato. Because of the happening gelato. What's his name? Oh man, I forgot the name. It's this old shop that sells all this gelato. It's so good. Mm, yeah, and Torino because of the view, the countryside is so nice. Yeah. Well, if I do get to Germany to Italy, I'll let you know, right? John Johansson, what DAW do you use for recording? My Vox AC31 speaker doesn't work. Can I fix it, or do I have to find a specialist? Or you can probably try and see whether the Vox AC30 is probably the Celestian, if I'm not mistaken. So some repair shops are able to repair it for you, because it could be a connection, unless the speaker is blown, meaning the transformer inside is blown, or the speaker cone is blown. In that case, you have to buy a new one, right? So give it a try. The DAW I use is a MOTU digital performer. It's old school. Ever since Logic came out, everybody just went to Logic, and then the other stuff, but I've stuck with digital performer because I'm so used to digital performer, and the new versions of digital performer is so happening. I just find, because I used Logic for a while. I use, what's the other one? I forgot the other one anyway. I used a couple of DAWs before, but I always found that the digital performer has a better headroom for me. And the fact is, I'm recording a whole lot of acoustic guitars and electric guitars, so sometimes your levels get blown out, distorted. So it's good to have a little bit more headroom, in a way, especially when you're mixing. And some of the stuff that comes in with digital performer are really nice, like the reverbs and stuff like that. They're top notch. Oh yeah, you can improvise anytime. Yeah, the phrase that I'm talking about, when you have that line, in your head, you can kind of like change little things here and there. Like you can repeat yourself the second phrase, but instead of repeating exactly the same, you can actually like one or two notes different. So the listener will think, oh, okay, you're actually doing something different, and it will not be a copy of a copy. You know who does that real well? Larry Carlton. Larry Carlton used to repeat himself, and he even taught about that. He repeats himself, but he changes little things. Yeah. What do you say? You say I saw. Okay. Can the Joyo be powered by a Boss power source? Oh, the 9 volt. Yeah, I think so. This can be powered by a 9 volt. Yep. So you can use the what's that universal or power plug that everybody uses for the effects, what spark, whatever it's called, I forgot. Anyway, yeah, it can be powered by a Boss adapter. Alvin, you saw a nice looking Gina style guitar HSS for 500. Do you think they are comparable to a? Well, I think you're talking about a tribute, Gina tribute. The Fullerton Deluxe doesn't. The American made ones doesn't cost that low. You're talking about a tribute. So the tributes are made in Indonesia. They're well made. I have no qualms with them. But again, you get what you pay for. So if you are able to compare the same guitar, the tribute guitar and the Fullerton Deluxe, you can actually see the differences. You can probably hear the differences too. So different woods, different materials, mind you, the pickups are mostly the same, because even the tribute models, they use the American made pickups, so same pickups. But because of the wood, the composition, the pots that they use, it might sound different. And are they comparable to a made in Mexico Strat at that price? Some of the made in Mexico Strats are really good. I played a couple. I was in Tucson, Arizona, right? I went down to a music store, picking up a guitar for the ministry that I was working for. I was teaching for them, and they asked me to pick up a guitar for them. So I picked up a Strat. It was on sale at the time. It was like it wasn't first hand. It was used. It was second hand. And I think they were trying to get rid of it. And it's like what? Bought it for $250, and spotless, mint. Hardly been played, and for $250 is a steal. And I picked up that guitar. It was in maroon red, made in Mexico, standard Strat. Yeah, I kind of regret after that. I kind of regretted after that. When I flew home, I kind of missed the sound. So anyway, the guitar is gone anyway. But made in Mexico doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Nowadays, made in China, right? A whole lot of people are like bitching, like, made in China, and they're no good, no, not necessary. The black paisley I was talking to you about, they're made in China. Great guitar, right? So don't go and be thinking that certain countries are not good, like made in Indonesia. No, Indonesian made guitars are really good, like the Fusion Pro, they are made in Indonesia. You know, or you have to understand that when you buy a guitar, you have to understand where your money is going to. So if you're paying like a $2,000 for a G&L guitar, for example, or for a Fender Elite or something like that, you must know that what you're paying for. Are you paying for uh, the playability? Are you paying for the uniqueness of the sound? Like in the case of G&L with the Comanche, it costs about $2,000 over. Am I paying this for the Z coil pickups? Because I can get the same Z coil pickups in the Tribute. Why don't I just get a Tribute at a fraction of the cost? Right? So if that's your argument, then you can choose between both of them. But I play in both. I review a bunch of G&L guitars. So I'm telling you that there is a difference, But the question to you is, does the difference make any difference to you? Does it mean anything to you? Are you really bothered by the difference? Are you bothered by the fact, the grain in the Fullerton is better than the Tribute, or the tone is a little bit different from the Tribute? If that doesn't really matter to you, then get a Tribute. Why spend the additional money? You get what I mean? So for me, I tried the same guitar, a Tribute and the Fullerton. I still prefer the Fullerton Deluxe, not because it's made in America. I don't care about that. I just care about the fact that it played well. It sounded what I wanted it to sound like, and I'm all for it. And not because of the fact that it's made in America. I love the Indonesian made guitars too, like the Blues Boy that was made in Indonesia, the Tribute Blues Boy with the natural color. I like that guitar. It played well, right? Oh, okay. So, can the Joy? Do I have a high hopes in this? Stay at home. It's harder to get because you respond to headphones versus good monitors. Yes, true. You got a lot of slap back in my voice. You sure? You now? That can't be because no. Anybody having the same problem? Do I have slapback or echoing in my voice? No, Guitar Journey. Just this is what it's all about. This live chat thing is about me trying to help out as much as I can. So just ask whatever question that you need to ask. All right. My friend used to say, if you have burning questions in your heart, let it out. All right. So just ask away. Todd, who is my favorite guitarist and most influential? Steve Lukather. He's my all-time favorite. I love the way he phrases the emotion in his playing. And I bought his book, The Gospel of Luke. I wonder if you guys have heard of it. See whether I can take this down. There's a whole lot of junk here. Oh, good lord. It's falling apart. Okay, I wonder if you guys have read this book. Right? It's a crazy title, right? The Gospel of Luke. Right? So his name is Lukather, so everybody calls him Luke. This book is not for the faint-hearted, okay? So there's a whole lot of profanities in the book. If some of you are not familiar with Mr. Lukather, he's a colorful character. Yeah, fun guy. Swears a whole lot. But he's a very, I should say, a very transparent guy. He's a very down-to-earth guy, and I love him for it. I remember back in 1991, 93, I wrote an email to him because I was looking for an album that he played, and he actually replied me. So I thought that was pretty decent of him. Being the fact that he's this rock star from Toto and A-grade guitarist, session guitarist. He took the time to reply. So, yeah, I have the utmost respect for him for his musicality as well. And he's been through a lot, divorces and stuff like that. So, yeah, influential because of his tone, and he's the one who turned me on into the Stratocaster, especially the one with the whammy bar. Like I was sharing, I didn't even know what is a whammy bar. I didn't even know what a whammy bar is for. I thought a whammy bar was like a kickstand for a guitar so that it will not. You can prop it up with the treble arm so that it's like a bicycle kickstand. It's only when I started hearing Steve Lukather and Van Halen that I found, so you got it, woo, woo, woo. So that's what the bar is for. Okay, yeah. So he was the one who turned me on into all this heavy stuff. Right. Moving on. Any more questions? You guys any more questions? What is this? What's that bag? Okay, Guitar Journey. Hey John, how did the British invasion of the 60s influence the music scene in Singapore? Did it have as much impact in Asia as it had in the States? In case you guys do not know, Singapore used to be a British colony for the longest time until the British Army bailed out on us and surrendered the whole island to the Japanese, and a whole lot of Singaporeans died at the hands of the Japanese. Then again, the whole lot of British soldiers and Australian and New Zealanders and Indian soldiers, they also suffered the same fate under the Japanese rule. A lot of them perished in Burma. In case you guys do not know, there's a movie about it called the River Kwai, right? So we were a British colony for the longest time, and we were heavily influenced by whatever Britain has to offer, right? So in the 60s, I was born in 1960, right? So at that time, we were fighting for our independence. And Singapore attained independence, I believe, in 1965. So we became an independent country. But then again, we was, again, very heavily influenced by the British culture. Our Prime Minister then was Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. He's like the father of our country. He was schooled in England. I believe in Oxford or something like that. As a lawyer. So we were heavily influenced by American television. That's one thing. But when Beatles happened and the Rolling Stones, they actually toured. They actually did a couple of shows here in Singapore. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, I remember my cousins. They were older than me. I was like 6 at that time, or 6 or 5, and my cousins were like 21, 18, and they were like going crazy because Paul McCartney's in town. I was like, okay. So yeah, that's the influence that we have. And then we have Cliff Richard. Remember Cliff Richard and the Shadows? They were big, okay? In Singapore, everybody wants to be like Cliff Richard with the hairstyle and everything. So the American influence was much later on. Elvis Presley didn't make quite an impact as Cliff Richard. Yeah, although a whole lot of people aspire to be Elvis. Except for my dad. My dad actually loved American music. He bought a whole lot of albums back in the 50s, stuff that was released in the 50s. I remember when I was young, growing up, I listened to a whole lot of stuff. And he would buy musicals like South Pacific. I don't know whether you guys remember this guy called this country western artist, Robbins. He had a hit called Water, cool clear water, and he would buy musicals like Disney musicals and stuff like that. And he would listen to American music. He's like so crazy about American music, and I was brought up in that environment. I remember drinking my milk from a bottle and listening to what is playing in the vinyl, and it's crazy. So yeah. Okay, Lynn. Have fun. Yes, Ian. Okay, so you guys saw about it, but no problem in my voice. What voice? Oh, okay. Hi, Tom. Oh, so late. You're still up. Good for you. You saw the Starlix video of Steve Lucas. Yeah, that that video, I played it to death, and I kind of lost the video because I think it snapped somewhere along the way. I was like rewinding and learning how he did all those licks that he did. Crazy. Yes, he's still touring with Ringo Starr. Yeah. Ian, yes. Ian, do you prefer to compose on your own or with others? How about everyone else? Okay, I don't know about anyone else, but I prefer to work alone. Yeah, I'm an introvert. I'm a selfish, not really selfish. I mean, I just like to work alone. Sometimes when you're working with in a collaboration with others, you will not know uh, what this guy is thinking. He might not be on the same wavelength. What I like to work with are lyricists because I compose music most of the time, the melody. So when I'm writing songs for the Taiwan market, I would have lyricists that I like, that I prefer, who understands my vibe and who would write lyrics in Chinese for me because I was singing English. I write my own lyrics. I was singing English, and then yeah. Hi, Eric. Are you hearing some noise? That's probably because of the internet connection. I guess everyone is okay. They can hear me, right? So it could be an internet connection. Hey, Jack. You know what? Just continue to write. Don't give up. Um, I I remember the first time I wrote my first song. The first time I wrote my first song was back in 1980. I was in the army, and they decided to come up with a campaign that is anti-drugs. Now this is back in 1980, right? So the government was like really coming down hard on drug traffickers and drug addicts and stuff like that. So we were in the army. We were like 20 years old. So I wrote a song, and yeah, and it got chosen nationally, like among the army camps. So I came in ninth. So that was the first time I wrote music with lyrics. That's pretty corny, but it was alright. And subsequently after that, I started writing songs, and my first song earned me like $50. I was ripped off, right? $50 is all I had, and yeah, I'm still getting royalties for it, but it's like a couple of cents. And I stopped writing songs for that publisher, and I started to write songs for other people, and I got a hit, and started writing again, and it was in a row. I was writing songs like a month. I was writing like 6-7 songs a month. That was my creative peak, of my career. I was writing like 6-7 songs a month, and we used to like record it down on a cassette tape. We don't have like MP3s and stuff like that, so we record on cassette tape. I would play my guitar. I would just sing whatever. If I had the time to write the lyrics, I would write the lyrics down, and I would sing, and I'll record it down, and I'll send the tape, the courier service to Taiwan, and the A&R guys will hear it. They like it. They'll send it and dispatch it to the lyricist, and before you know it, 2 months later, the album is out with my song in it. Right? I think you guys probably see in case you guys haven't seen it, there is a video. Okay, I'm gonna put the link to it. See where I can. And this interesting story about this. Well, not really a story about a backstory about how this song was written. I don't know where I can find it here. So let me check. Okay, it's gonna take some time to do this. Okay, I'm gonna try as I speak. I wrote this song for a girl actually who I met on the internet, and she's a teacher, and she was a Singaporean teacher, and yeah, I can probably say that she's lonely, but I wasn't looking for anything, a relationship. I was married with kids, so we just got to know each other through the internet and all that. So I wrote a song, and her name was Laurie. So I wrote and I titled the song as "Rainy Days in Laurie," and nice melody. I thought it was a nice melody. And by that time, I was writing a whole lot of songs for the Taiwanese market, right? And I submitted a song, and okay, I got the link now. Just wait up. Okay, I'm gonna give you the link in the web chat. Okay, so it's there now. So if you want, you can take a look at the video. So this song was sung by a Taiwanese artist named Jeff Chang, and he actually brought the well, he asked me to arrange the song as well, so that he thought it would be best that I can arrange it the way I write it. So I arranged the song, even had a guitar solo, harmonic guitar solo in the middle. So I sent the arrangement to him, and he says, "Okay, very good. I'm gonna bring it to the States, to LA to record." I said, "Wow, cool." And in me, I was like secret hoping, please use Steve Lukather, please let him play, please use Jeff Porcaro to play drums, So they they recorded in the States. They didn't use Jeff Porcaro, they didn't use Steve Lukather, they used Michael Thompson and J.R. Robinson in drums, and who's this guy? Lee Scalar on bass. Crazy studio cats from LA, and they were playing, and they actually taped it down, and it became an MV, a music video. And I was seeing this whole thing in the living room with my wife, and my wife was, "Wow," I said, "Yeah, I mean, wow." And when the solo part came, I was thinking like, Michael Thompson will replay the solo. No, they actually kept the solo part. So I was kind of like, wow, that was pretty nice of them. Yeah. So that's just a little backstory. I just felt really good that that the music that I wrote, the arrangement I did was played by these top studio cats. Greg. Yes, Greg. I love history, like I said many times. Oh, I know why. I know why you are thinking that there is a hiss. Okay, I'm gonna shut off the expander. It's because of the expander, because we're supposed to cut off the sound from the air conditioner. All right, so I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna turn up the compressor. So I'm gonna bring this down to minimum, so you won't hear too much of it. I hope it's better right now. All right. Yes, Alvin. Yeah, we had to serve 2 years in the army, from 18 to 20. Yeah. I love my time in the army. I love to shoot. You were using not the M16s, the AR-15. So I love to shoot at the range. It's the cleaning up that that was not happening. I was in the combat engineer, so we get to build bridges and stuff like that. The explosive and stuff like that, right? If my studio is burning down, I'll put out a fire. I will save all my guitars if I can. What guitars? No, no. Yes, be peace. I saw the guitar you're talking about in the music shop in Singapore. It's pretty interesting. And yes, the DiMarzio. Somehow I haven't tried any DiMarzio pickups. I actually did install a couple of DiMarzios back in the days, back in the 80s when I was playing the bands. Those stack single coil where it's actually a humbucker but in a single coil format. Not bad. The pickups that you're mentioning from Steve Lukather, right? He's actually using it. They're actually putting it in the new Luke 3, I guess. So transition. Yeah, I haven't tried them yet. Probably should, right? Do you still stand by your pickup choice in the original HP Fusion Pro? Yes and no. I thought I could have maybe. Well, not for the middle pickup. I love the middle pickup. No, the middle pickup is a stack, right? So it serves its purpose. Maybe for the bridge, yeah, the bridge is an 89 or something like that. It's an 89. I forgot the model, but it could have been harder. I thought it could have been a harder pickup. Have you ever replaced pickups and then regret it and change it back? No. I didn't want to spend any more money. I'm a cheapskate. Yes, Marty Robbins. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, I love his songs. It's so nice. You know, and he always had this album cover with him as a cowboy. You know, going to draw, and he was dressed all in black. Yeah, I remember that, and it was pink. The album cover was in pink, and he was in all black. Thank you, Dan. Okay, how does a singer get to work with Jonathan Cole? Not now, because all the young singers, they know nothing about me. What some of them do? Um, you know what? The music industry is so bad that everybody is using like covers from the Koreans, especially among the Chinese market. Uh, a lot of them are not using original written songs. You know, they're far in between. They would just do Chinese covers of Korean songs or Japanese songs, so that they're safe on copyright. And it's partly because of the industry's health. You know, it's never picked up. It's never the same after the fall at the year 2000, right? Then get a good publisher. In fact, you know what? Before you get a good publisher, make sure that you get your songs used by artists. And you probably suffer at the get go, because they will probably pay you below market rate, you know, and that's something that you got to kind of like decide for yourself whether you want to sell your songs at a cheaper rate or anything like that. But in order to get yourself exposed to the market, that's one way to do it. So once you are recognized and once you have your songs published, and then you can it's two ways. Like, you know, in my case, I wrote a song and the song became a hit, and I was like, you know, I told you I paid like $50 or something like that, $150 for it, but it became a hit, right? So or minor hit, not a big hit. So I thought, hey, that's not too bad. So I kind of know that my songs have that quality to kind of like penetrate the market. So I started writing songs, a whole lot of songs, and a lot of them did not become hits, you know. And finally, I wrote a song for a girl called Ame, and it became a mega hit, you know. And the album sold like over 1 million copies. So that itself was the turning point, because I was published under the record company that was releasing the album at the time, for May, right? And EMI saw this whole thing, you know, and they were hit hunters everywhere. These publishing firms, they have their hit hunters, and they're going around at the time looking for songwriters, and they kind of like, okay, so Jonathan wrote the song and it became a million seller, right? So the whole album is just sold over 1 million copies. But it's not just my song. There are a whole lot of nice songs in the album, but my song had enough airplay to justify their effort in hit hunting me. So this girl, this woman from EMI, flew all the way down from Hong Kong, and kind of like get me to sign a deal with them, and gave me a good deal, you know, an offer that I could not refuse. So I signed on a package with them, and I was with EMI for the longest time. And after that, I kind of like signed on to another company, which is Universal Music, which I'm still am under Universal Music. So it totally depends on how exposed are your songs. Are they getting enough airplay? Are they getting recognized? If they're getting enough recognition, and if they are a good thing, and then people will come after you. You don't have to go after them. But in any case, you need to have a good publisher. So that's one thing that you got to look at. Now in Singapore, we have a sort of a watchdog organization called Compass. So in order to register yourself as a member, you need to have at least a published work, meaning a song that is being used in the album that is for sale, right? So if you have a song published, you are eligible immediately to be a member of Compass. And what Compass does is that it would collect royalties on your behalf, so that any airplay in the elevator, in the toilet, in the radio, the karaoke, they would collect royalties on your behalf and dispense to you. Of course, they will take a certain percentage. Nobody does things for free, and that's for Compass. But apart from Compass, I still have my Universal Music, which will dispense royalty to me every year, and that is from album sales, concerts, and stuff like that. So yeah, so all these different royalties, I used to learn a little bit about this because I was thinking of going into this business, but I gave up after a while. So until today, I'm still receiving royalties. Yeah. So yeah, get a song published. Get a good publisher. I love rockabilly. I love the group called Stray Dogs. It's Stray Cats, not Stray Dogs, Stray Cats. Yeah. Like I said, I prefer to write alone, and in any case, I stopped writing for the longest time. I haven't wrote a song since. Good Lord, the last song I wrote was back in 2010, something like that, or 2008. You know. But hey, Ben, don't let it put it down. You just continue to write. You know, just continue to write. Hi, Pascal. Yes, Todd. I was touring. I was doing two shows. One in Atlantic City and one in Reno. No name. We were supporting this artist called George Lamb. Yeah. So that was back in February. Thank you, Guitar Journey. You like the song, right? Have you heard the guitar parts that Michael Thompson was playing? It's incredible. So simple. And the bass line that Lee Sklar did, there's something very magical when you record a live band in the studio. You can program all your stuff, you can program all your shit, you can have many iterations in your drum programming and whatever stuff you need to do at home. But nothing beats the magic of recording in the studio with live players. Like I used to love recording Jimmy, back in the days, and Jimmy would do a whole lot of sessions for me because I love the way he plays his drums, and it just brings a certain element to the song that I arranged, and suddenly the song just came alive. So in real life, with a good live bassist, oh man, the whole arrangement would just come alive, right? Bye, David. Yes, if I come to Italy, I will let you know. The ST20, no, I gave it to a friend of mine. As you can tell, I have very limited space. So the ST20 is like a Strat, so I have enough Strat, so I don't need another Strat. And all I remember at the time that I spent with it is a great guitar. It's a great guitar. It's like $100, like so cheap, right? But yeah, great guitar. Usable for a beginner or for even intermediate. Right? But if you're a more advanced player, probably would be looking for a better made guitar. The frets, yeah, the side of frets are pretty sharp a little bit. Pickups are a bit weak, but not that unplayable. You can hear the review that I did, the song that I played. It's pretty decent. Yes, Greg, you saw the Bad Boy video. What's the story behind that one? Well, no story. That's just one of the songs that we did for the concert. It was from an album. So the girl the singer that you saw she's really big. She's like the Celine Dion or the Madonna of the Chinese market back in the 90s. And she started out as a pop singer, you know. She was really good, and she's from the indigenous tribe of Taiwan, right? She's and lovely girl, I love her to bits. She's like my little sister that I never had, and a powerful voice, right? And yeah, so that song was from her album, and that was her first tour that she ever did. It's the first time having such a concert, And I was sharing about this with the other guy, with the other guys back a couple of days. Someone was asking me like, what was my most memorable performance on the stage, and I was sharing that it was in Shanghai, and it was with her, and I was singing a song with her, a duet, a song that I wrote, and the stadium was overbooked. There were 60,000 people in that stadium in Shanghai because they oversold the tickets. And it's crazy, and the whole atmosphere is so electrifying. And then when I'm singing my song, it's goosebump all the way. So she was really big at that time, yeah. And I just recently did a tour with her on 2013. I did 2 years with her until 2013. So from 2011 to 2013. Yeah, she's great. Have you done this with your group? No, no. I played a couple of DVDs and stuff. I played a whole lot of albums and session work. No, not with a group. I used to have a group called Typhoon back in the days, and we released an album. It's all in Cantonese, and it was a cassette. So it's many years ago. This was like back in 1990. 1988, 88, 89. Bye, Rolly. Yes. Hi, 38. Indianapolis. Never been to Indianapolis. Yeah, should look for it. No, Joe. Arnell, he's from the Philippines. No, I haven't met him. No, I haven't met him. For me, Journey, is still Steve Perry. Steve Perry is Journey. His voice is like an instrument, a very unique instrument, and Arnaud is good. He's one of the better singers I've heard, but he's not Steve Perry. Like I said, you have it. You have that certain thing that you have, the mojo that you have. No one can replace it. Yeah. For acoustic, Todd, I use well, it depends. Okay, so I have the Taylor 512s. I have 012s on it. My D35 Martin has 013s on it, which I might change to 012 because it's kind of taxing on my fingers. But it sounds really good finger picking, even strumming. It has that nice, yeah. Or my, what is that, GS Mini? It has 013s because it's a short neck, right? So I need a little bit more tension. Yeah. Guitar Journey, I suck at programming MIDI instruments, so I prefer collaborating with other musicians. I feel results more organic in some sense. I usually play rock and psychedelic rock. Yeah, that's the way to go. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, when you're playing rock, it has to be with a band. It has to be with live players. There's no way I can program rock songs. It becomes so sterile. Then there's no live element in it. It's not rock. You're welcome, Bruno. Like I said, Pascal, I don't play in a band. I don't belong to a band. I'm like a session musician. I am a session musician. So I play for artists, are singers who are popular. So I'll tour with them. I'll tour with her, or tour with him together with other session musicians. So we don't have a band per se, right? Hi, Steve. Thank you. Oh yeah, Dan, you're from Indianapolis too. So can you guys tell me where is Indianapolis? Haven't the faintest idea where it is. Is it in the Midwest? Hi, Tom. Howdy. Guitar Journey, you're Filipino. Where are you from? Manila? Is it Manila? Yes, Pascal. I like the Zoom. Yeah, I was pretty impressed with it. Light, sound great. Nothing not to like about. I like it. Yeah. There's some people just don't like Zoom. I don't know. Maybe the way it's designed. But I'm looking forward to the new Zoom. The new multi effects board. I'm just waiting for it to come in. All right, Midwest. So I was right. Okay, cool. Middle of Indiana, hence Indianapolis, right? 3 hours south of Chicago. Oh wow. I haven't been to Chicago. Yeah. There are many places that I like to visit in the States, Don't get me wrong, I love visiting, the states, different countries and stuff like that. Don't necessarily agree to what America is doing, but it don't matter. That's politics. I'll leave it to them. But guys like you guys are just like me, just like us, stay in Singapore. You guys suffer the same thing that we do. Maybe the lifestyles are a bit different, government policy are a bit different, but nothing against you guys. I love to travel to places where you don't see the norm. Like when I was in New York City. The first time I was there back in 1990, good lord, 94. I was like this wide-eyed kid. First time in NYC and going, wow. But after a while, it just didn't grab that much attention from me. I prefer to go to places like, I think I would really love it if I head on down to Oklahoma again, or Texas, for example, big wide open spaces I love my time in Tucson, Arizona, because it's the desert. I love the desert, well, provided there's water. Yeah, and the culture, it's also laid back. You get great Mexican food. And the people are nice, they're friendly. So I'm getting old, right? Have I ever gig in Africa? Oh no, I would love to one day. Oh, you're in Medano. Okay. Hi, Christopher. Bonjour. Do you like Vox better than Fender amps? No. I still like my Fender DeVille Hot Rock. Yeah, that's my favorite amp from Fender. Yes, Pascal. I am raised and born in Singapore. I'm true blue Singaporean. My father was born here. My grandfather is from China. Okay, he's from what's this place called? Fujian. Okay, Fujian in China, and he came over back in the 1920s. In the 1920s, yeah. And my grandfather actually had a good business. I could have been rich. He had a import export company. He was doing big business, and my father was like the playboy. He had like what, 3 sisters and 2 brothers, or 3 brothers, but he was the playboy of the family. He was telling me that he had a whole lot of girlfriends and stuff like that. So he was living the life. But then Second World War happened. The whole economy, as you know, it was shot to shit. So my grandfather's business suffered, and it never did recover after that. Yeah. So my dad has to um, etch out a living on his own. So he worked in a bank and managed to raise his family, me and my sister and his wife, my mom. Yeah. So that's the whole story. I could have been rich, right? And I'm not gonna say this, but my mom's side, I tell you, this is like a typical Chinese family back then. My mom's family had like 10 sisters. Okay, my grandmom from my mom's side It's crazy. She's this little petite. I saw her. I saw her when I was really young. She's a little petite woman, right? Um, she gave birth to $10.05. 15 all in all. 15. And I was like, how did this happen, right? So, my granddad from my mom's side, my mom's dad, had a import export company too, doing rice and flour and stuff like that. And those are the best earning companies back then. They were like doing a whole lot of business. But then the whole family fortune went to the dogs because of poor management among the sons. There it is. Could have been rich again. No, I could share with you, Todd. That's not a big secret. When it comes to EQing in a mix for guitars, if you hear, no, the best thing to do is to listen to a whole lot of songs, like songs that you love, songs that you felt that the mix really makes sense to you, and kind of like pay attention to how the guitar sounds like, how the overall mix sounds like. And then decide when you're mixing, when you're hands on a mix, you have to decide there and then where it's all about placement, right? Part of the magic of mixing is placement, positioning the various instruments. You are looking at a view where you have the horizon and the sky. It's like painting. So where is your guitars gonna be? Where's your hi-hats? Where's your right cymbal? Where's your bass? Now certain things of course have to be in the middle, like bass drum, snare, and bass. But back in those days, when stereo first came out, we had bass drum on the right and snare on the left. I heard some of the early Beatles recording. Radical. But it worked, right? So don't matter. So nowadays, we kind of kept it to the norm where bass drum, the bass, and the snares are in the middle. The heads are probably to the left or right, depending on which perspective you're looking at. Now the guitars, if you're talking about electric guitars, are a lot of patches today have, like for example, the Helix that I'm using, they have stereo patches. So it's kind of hard to pan, whether you want it left or right because of the effects and stuff like that. So what I normally do is, if I were to come with the attitude of, okay, I'm gonna make this mix like a rock and roll band. I have two guitarists, so I'll pan left and right, and they all play electric guitars, right? So I will just record it in mono. That's the safest way. So I record it in mono. So my positioning, as far as concerned, is all set. So I have a left and right guitar, electric guitar, and they are playing different stuff. Maybe some unison lines somewhere along, but they're basically playing different stuff. And you have the drums, you have the high frequencies of the drums and the mid frequency of the snare and the toms, and the low frequency of the low tom and floor toms and the bass drum and the bass. So you got to find a position where you can place the guitars at frequency wise, where it would not be covered up by the hi-hats or the crash cymbal, for example, or the tambourine or the screaming of the singers. So the positioning is very important because you can't do it in a way where place it in a way where it gets in the way. So this is part of the secret. And a lot of people would tend to think that the mid-range, the 1K or the 2K is the secret ingredient. No, not necessary. Or sometimes for acoustic guitar, what you need to hear is maybe just a higher frequency. And a lot of people, I explained earlier on, a lot of people has a misconception that if I wanted more highs, I would boost up the high, to boost up the higher frequency. In the end, the guitar will just get louder and louder and louder. So sometimes most times what I do is if I feel that the guitars are a little bit weak, like, it's like being drowned, I would cut the bass. I will filter off the bass. So by filtering off the bass, it kind of enhances the highs just a little, because you're not hearing the low frequencies. So play around with it. Do not be afraid, because it doesn't cost you money just by fooling around. So if it still doesn't help, then okay, then you can probably add maybe 8K or 5K, high frequency, just to boost up the presence. And that's about it. Okay. Yes, I still do sessions at home. In fact, I just did a session like a couple of weeks ago for a good old producer friend of mine who's also an artist. So these days, it's really convenient for me, and he doesn't care whether I use a Harley Benton or a Fender or a G&L. So I could use any guitars here that I have in my arsenal, and I can take my time to record. Back in the days when we were recording in the studio, you had to be aware of studio time. So back then it was like $120 an hour, and they will block book it, so they probably get a bit discount here and there. But depending on the producer is really a musical guy. He really wants to hear what he wants to hear. Then he would probably take a lot of time, and you as a session musician, you got to give what you have to offer. Back those days, session musicians are paid very different rates. Like everybody is different. Like the guys in Hong Kong would charge per hour, which is the right thing to do. They would charge like maybe $100 an hour, or $120 or $150 an hour. For me, I charge by track back then. So I charge like $80 a track or $70 a track. So I know that every song will consist of maybe at least about three tracks, and sometimes as much as 5 to 6 tracks. So for a song, I could probably earn like average of $300 to $400 a song. But the caveat is that if this producer is really, how should we say, really intent on getting the best, he might spend a whole lot of time. So you might be recording a track for 2 hours. And I've been there, done that, and it gets so frustrating because he will keep on changing his mind. And especially some producers have no decision to make. He was, can you play this? And then after that, can you maybe change the key and couple this, or can you do this and can you do that? And he'll play around with you for 2 or 3 hours, and you're just getting paid for $80. So stuff like this happen. In a home session is very different because I charge per song. Like, I don't care how many tracks you want, but for old clienteles of mine, good friends, I don't do that. I will just like, okay, how many songs? I mean, you gave me a song to track. Okay, how many tracks do you want me to do? And I'll be about 3 or 4. I say, okay, cool. I'll just charge you per track. That's all I do. Right? No, bonjour, eh? Hi, Andrew. You live in Oklahoma City? Yeah, I know. You told me that night, I think. Were you? Were you the one who said that you're from Oklahoma? Oh, Bob, you don't have to apologize. That's nothing of your doing. Fact of the matter is that every country has the same idiots sometimes, not just America. Every country has its own fair share of politicians that misbehave. It just saddens me to no end because I'm Chinese, right? In case you haven't noticed, I'm Chinese to the core. I'm proud to be a Chinese. It saddens me to no end that in America that we are still being picked on whenever something happens. A simple, callous word from Trump and Chinese, the American Chinese or American Asians, get picked on. So that's sad for me. I find it was so uncalled for. You have problem with China, take it up with them. But you don't harm your own people. So yeah, I don't want to go into that. This is not a political channel at all. All right. So Bob, you don't have to apologize. You don't have to apologize. Oh yes, Dan, I'm rich. I know. It was just a statement, could have been rich. I could have been a rich man. I'm rich. I'm so blessed. God has given me so many things that I've never dreamed of. Taken me to places that I never ever thought I'll be. And who would have thought I'd be that I'll be in Mongolia, of all places, the land of Genghis Khan, in Ulaanbaatar, doing a concert for the Mongolian people. Who would ever thought that I would do all this? Right, yeah. Alvin, do I use a looper pedal? I do. I was just showing I use a TC Electronic, what's it called? A TC Electronic Ditto, DITTO, small little pedal, affordable. And that works for me. You know, the funny thing is that I know about looper for the longest time, but never actually went down and get me one and got me one. So I was like fooling around a lot with with this guitar amp, the Langley, at home when I first got it. So I decided maybe it's time for me to get a looper. So I got a looper, and boy, how I love the looper. I used to spend hours just looping and playing stuff and layering and having this music bed and then soloing on top of it and getting ideas. Yeah, it's great. It's a great tool for you to try out like different voicings or even different phrasings and stuff like that. And I think that helped me a lot. The looper helped me a lot to kind of understand the modes, what I can do with the modes and stuff like that. So, indispensable. Get a looper if you guys haven't got one yet. Yes, Alan, you remember, so you're probably my age, right? Do I like heavy metal? Or certain types of heavy metal? And not all heavy metal. I try to stay away from those satanic, those satanic ones like Manson and stuff like that. Um, I like rock, basically, and heavy metal is basically rock, but in a heavier sense. Degen is something that I don't really dig, although some of the Degen stuff are pretty cool. I'm just a rocker. I just love rock. You know. Uh, well, not really, because we don't have that problem when I was recording with analog tape in the studio back then when I was an engineer, even as a player, because the studios then were very well constructed. Some of them were designed by Japanese, and yeah, we have sound isolation everywhere, even from the floor to the ceiling. It's floated. Everything is floated, so we didn't have any noise problem in the studio before, even when we were recording acoustic or vocals. Hamrick, when you do a session at home, you create tracks and stamps. Yes. When you export a stamp, does it matter which recording software you use, or are stamps universal? Now, there are many versions of stamps that we use in our line of work. I think the common one is wave files. Of course, in Mac you have the ARIF, AIFF. I guess what really matters is the bit rate. So uh, I mostly record at 48K, 48 hertz at 24 bit, right? So you can choose between 96 if you want to, if your DAW supports that. But for me, yeah, 16 and 32 bit. Sorry, 32 bit, 48K. Yeah, that's what I would send with my WAV file, and I would just I cannot email because the files are just too darn big, right? So what we do is we use this web-based, browser-based transfer service called WeTransfer. It's free, so I could transfer maybe a couple of gigabytes for free, and the client will receive it on his end, and it's so fun these days because everything is through the web, through the internet. No fuss, no muss. Gone are the days when I had to send 2-inch tape for Korea, like in DHL, and send them to Taiwan for them to mix. Like they'll send a master tape over. I'll do the dubbing, send it back to them. Gone are those days. And sometimes when I go over to record, I would do, like, if I produce an album, I would do all the basic tracking in Singapore. I would record in a 2-inch 24 track, and I would lug the tape to Taiwan, to Taipei, to record vocals or backup vocals, and I will be stopped at a custom every single time. Go, 这是什么? What is this? I say, okay, it's a recording tape. And after a while, they kind of know that Taiwan, there's an industry, there's a recording industry in Taiwan, so they kind of, okay, they kind of got used to it. Yeah, so it's pretty fun, pretty fun. I can still remember the first time I went to China. Back in 1995, 96. Yeah. I went up there to record a orchestra, right? A string section for a album that I did for my brother Eric. And that was the first time ever, I've been in China, and it was in Beijing. And we recorded the string section in a radio station, real nice radio station, and we had like 40 over piece. The most of the orchestration was done by my brother Ricky Ho, great guy, great brother of mine who does fantastic orchestration work for soundtracks and stuff like that. Um, and we went up there to this fabulous, beautiful studio. Right, it's actually a TV station, or already a radio station. And I walked into the studio, and I saw the studio machines, and they have an SSL board, and the engineers came out to greet us, the chief engineer, and he was dressed up in like how a doctor would dress up with his white gown. It was so courteous. He says, he welcomes me to the studio, and I said, okay, cool. And I brought my own engineer, so my own engineer kind of like did all the miking and stuff. So we proceeded to record. Recording went well. These guys were fabulous players. They were so fast. They were so fast. 1, 2 takes, and we didn't. We some of the songs didn't have click, right? We didn't have click. Some of the songs have click, but they're not used to the clicks that we have because we will use whatever clicks that is available through the sequences, right? What the concert master would do is that he will go into the studio, and he will say, "Okay, I'm going to record the click." I say, "Huh?" I say, "Yeah." And he take out this little coconut thing that we use for temples, for Chinese, in the Chinese temple. I wonder where you see all this tuk tuk tuk. A monk, you'll go tuk tuk tuk, and you use that thing like a coconut shell, and you'll go into the studio and you'll go like in Chinese you go bar 1 2 3 4 bar 2 2 3 bar 3, and he will voice out every bar. Bar 74, bar 75, bar 74 2 3, bar 75 2 3, and he would just count throughout the whole duration of the song. And then when we did the recording, those guys were spot on. They know exactly where they are. So if there was a mistake or there was a miscount, they would just stop. And there's no miscount from the concert master part. He was spot on. Like sometimes I would like to forward the songs to the next screen section. They know exactly where they are. So it's pretty ingenious, the way they do it. Yeah, it was a great experience for me. It was the first time I visited the Great Wall of China too. Detlef, no, I do not know about the band, the Mongolian band, The Who. The funny thing is that in Mongolia there are a lot of boys band, a lot of rock bands, and I was playing for this so-called Celine Dion of Mongolia. Her name was Sarah, and we did a concert for her in Ulaanbaatar. That was a good experience, but that was my second trip to Mongolia. My first trip to Mongolia was for a mission trip. We went to the churches there, we taught, and we did a couple of Christian concerts in Mongolia. So, very interesting. Thank you, Lynn. I hope it helps. Alan, Alan Pappy, where I work in the UK, we trade with China a lot with no problems. We would be in trouble. You know what? I'm hearing these things from you guys, and I'm sure you guys are speaking the truth because you guys are laymen. But while I'm reading a newspaper, it's a different thing. Like the British government is complaining about Chinese government, calling them liars, and then Australia has jumped into the bandwagon, and all the blame has started to fall on China. China has lost a lot of people too. They have lost mothers, they have lost fathers. So what are they trying to imply? That Chinese lives are nothing compared to American lives or to British lives or to European lives or to Australian lives? They're all lives. They're someone's mother, they're someone's fathers. So I don't know where they are going with this. Right? I'm okay because you know what? This is my prime time. In case you haven't heard the song "Prime Time" by Alan Parsons Project, one of my favorite songs. This is my prime time. I'm awake at this time. I actually slept really late today. I woke up about 12 p.m. But I had a full day because I was teaching. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Then, I'll go if I need to go. Am I a fan of Clapton? Yes, I am a fan of Clapton. The fact is, a lot of people do not know that Clapton actually plays session guitars. Yeah, and if you guys do not know, there is this song called Save It for a Rainy Day by Stephen Bishop, one of my favorite all-time singer-songwriter. Stephen Bishop, right? In case you haven't, check out his first album, Save It for a Rainy Day. There's a guitar solo right smack in the middle with a wah-wah. That was Eric Clapton. That solo blew me away. Right, Ian? Poor kids. Go ahead, go ahead. It's good to see you. What's my favorite meal? Pasta. That's my favorite. No, that's not entirely true. My favorite meal is a Japanese meal. I'm pretty simple. I love fish, boneless, preferably, and yeah, just Japanese, dishes. With rice and beef, that would do. That would do fine. Muyu, yes, muyu, yeah, wooden fish. It's made of coconut or it's made of wood, I love them. Hi, Gwenta. Eric Clapton plays for a whole lot of people, not just for Cream or for his solo acts. He played a lot of sessions back in the days, and a lot of people did not know that. So did Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page actually started playing as he actually did a lot of work as a session guitarist. Todd, what is my opinion of Gary Moore? Gary Moore, for me, is like this phenomenal player that I don't know. I look at him play, I go like, this guy's a beast, and literally a beast. The way he delivers his music, like when he sings, I was and I'm still a fan. But when he started going to the blues, I kind of like weaned off from him. I like him when he was doing Over the Hills and Far Away and stuff like that, real rockier stuff, because his rock songs are really good, and he's got that typical British rock voice, that complements the songs. So I really love Gary Moore then, but like I said, since he went to the blues thing, I kind of like him. Rick Davidson, humanity needs to grasp the fact that we are all one as one planet and not individual countries. You are so right, and I am in the Harley Benton page in Facebook. There were a couple of racist remarks made to me. I was saddened by the fact that these are not Americans. These are, the remark was made from this guy in Spain, and he was talking they were talking among themselves to a fellow Spaniard, and they didn't have the understanding that there's this translation thing function in Facebook. I know what they're talking about. Culo, they were calling me names, and I was so disappointed at the fact that we are all musicians. We are in this website, and why the name calling just because I'm Chinese. So I had to put a statement, and no matter what, when I cut you, your blood is just as red as mine. So what's the difference? Whether I'm Chinese or whether I'm black. I met a whole lot of musicians all around the world, whether they're Chinese, they're Italians, Americans, blacks, native black Americans, British, black British, it don't matter. We're all musicians. We all love a single thing. I have met Jewish musicians. I've met and know many Malays musicians, Indian musicians. We all have a singular love for music, and that's all that matters. And you open up your eyes in the morning when you wake up and you look at the news and you go like, dang, what's happening? Why are the politicians doing this? Why are they saying this? It just boggles me. Okay. Are you familiar with Tim Pierce's YouTube channel, given you do both? Yes, I do, and I love Tim Pierce's guitar playing so much. I love him since Rick Springfield. Oh man, the first concert that Rick Springfield had, where he did Jesse Go and a whole bunch, and that was Tim Pierce, right, smack in the middle. Phenomenal guitar player and such a nice guy. He's so humble. What's the brand on that clock? Gillette. What clock? That clock? That clock is a cheap clock from I don't know where I bought it from a store in Singapore. There's no brand. It's just a generic clock that's made to look like an antique piece, which is not. Oh really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that he's meant that Jimmy's pitch mentor was Big Jim Sullivan. Cool. So he plays for Tom Jones. Oh, Tom Jones was so hot back then, you know. Yeah, I remember watching him in the TV back in when I was young, black and white. Yes, Gunter. Then you should come over here. We have a lot of spicy food here. Musicians. Some people play instruments. Others are musicians. But then again, you got to give them credit because they took the time to practice on a music instrument. So yes, Rick, it does. Music has always been the catalyst for well-being, you know, for peace. I believe, you know, I'm a Christian, so I believe God created music for a reason. And if you guys are fellow Christians, you'll probably know the story of David. You know, David and Goliath. You remember him? So he used to play the harp, and and King Saul at that time, which was the king of Israel at that time, was in a troubled state. You know, he was a tortured man, and David will always play his harp, and that will kind of soothe King Saul. So I believe music has this ability to kind of calm everyone down. Yeah, strange, right? My friend Martin, my brother Martin, was saying this many years ago. It's just David. No, it's just that, you know, music is such a strange thing because you can't actually hold it. It's non-tangible, but yet we package it and we sell it for $24 a CD. You know, and we actually marketing in something that goes through the air, through wavelengths. You know, and not having it tangible like a guitar. You can actually feel a guitar when you buy a guitar, but you can probably hold the CD, but you cannot hold the music. So there's something supernatural about music, you know, if you think about it. All right, some train of thoughts for you guys. Okay. Oh, you have the same clock, Gillette. Yours is probably more expensive than mine. Probably yours is like what, Tissot, or you know. Yes, Pascal, for upgrade, what pickup in the Fusion 2 HH Strat? Strat? 2 HH Strat? Fusion 2? Or you mean the HSH? Or the HH? If it's a HH, if it's a HH and it comes in with the LF pickups, don't change it. You know, the LF pickups are fine. They're just good. If you need to change, then there's so many options out there. You know, you can change to the Marzios, to the Seymour Duncans. You know, I can't possibly tell you what to change. Like I said, you know, every one of us have different preferences to the sound that you're listening. All right. Then I love disco. I love disco music. I'm a sucker for disco music. How my friend? How are you? Jack Cockburn. How do you choose to deal with the noise of the HP model TE70? Do you do the copper thing? What is the difference between stomp boxes for noise elimination? The TE70, you're talking about the black Paisley, I presume. I changed my pickups. That's why. After changing my pickups, the noise level died down drastically. I don't know what I did, but probably the pickups that I use, the Seymour Duncan pickups I use, is kind of quiet, not as noisy as you know, like this. I have a light here. You know, in case you never noticed, there's this light here. So this light, if I turn it on and my guitar is here, it would emit 60 cycle hum. There's no doubt. But sometimes when I'm doing recording, I will have to shift in position to here, far away from the lights, so that you won't pick up. So that's probably one reason why I'm able to record the TE70 relatively quiet. The copper thing, yeah, it might help, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. And what's the difference between stomp boxes for noise elimination? Now, I used to use noise gates. You know, those pedals. They have it in pedal form, and those are good. But ultimately, this will only work if you're on a distortion mode. You know what I mean? Like if you have a whole lot of distortion going on, and you have a noise gate pedal, yeah, it'll probably help you. But if you're doing like a clean sound sort of thing, like, you know, a clean sounding guitar, the noise gate sometimes will affect your signal. You know, like you guys were complaining about me having this static thing, like, you know, that's because I have an expander on, and it acts almost like a noise gate, so you have things cutting in and out. So that will probably have an effect on your tone. So most of the time, I would prefer to have a guitar that's just noiseless. That's the reason why I love EMG pickups, and I use EMG pickups all the time for most of my guitars. But then as I grew older, I decided, you know, sometimes as we grow older, our sense of smell and taste and listening alters. You know, we change. So I kind of like got kind of sick of the EMG pickups and went to the what you call it, the normal stock pickups that you have, the single coils or the humbuckers. The HH with Floyd. You can, you know what? Stick an EMG in it, and you'll be fine. Seriously, EMG. Or, you know, get one of those active pickups that is from Harley Benton. They work just as good, you know. Maybe not as, yeah, maybe not. They don't really sound like the EMGs, but, you know, EMGs have so many models to choose from. So you have a choice there. Oh yeah, Brazilian band. I love Brazilian music. You know, first time I was introduced to Brazilian music was because of Sergio Mendes, and Brazil was called Brazil '69, and it kind of like went up 69, 70, 72, or whatever it is. Classical music, yes, I do. Certain classical music. Sometimes I've always felt that classical music is like rock, and the power that it emits, you know, from the orchestras, from the horn section especially, you know, and from the string section, you know, it's like rock music to me. It has that dynamic and that ballsy feeling that you get when you listen to a real good orchestra playing something from Beethoven or from, you know, from those cats, you know, who what was the other guy? Tchaikovsky? Tchaikovsky? Yeah. Okay. My favorite disco band is Kool and the Gang, right? And Freak Out. What's that? The Chic. Yeah. I also love what's the other band? Of course, you know, Open and Fire. You know, but they're not. Yeah, you can call them a disco band, but they're not necessarily a disco band. Yeah. And Bee Gees at one stage was almost like a disco band. You know, you should be dancing. You know, nice songs. I love the songs in the 80s and 90s, especially in the 80s. Great, well-written songs. Gillette, is there some video that you can explain how to record voice, mic, and gain? I think I did a video about interface, if I'm not mistaken. But no, I have not recorded a video explaining about how to record. I can tell you now if you want to listen. Basically, a mic is a mic, right? You know, this mic that you see before you, this is a mic, right? Incidentally, this is one of the mics that I just reviewed. This is from Mackie, right? It's a USB mic. Now there are two types of mic. This is a condenser. There's another one on the dynamics, like, you know, the ones that you probably use, probably seen in the clubs where, you know, the singer will hold this. That's a dynamic mic. This is a condenser mic. So a condenser mics, they behave, and a dynamic and a condenser mic, they behave and capture sound very differently. So you have to understand the various types of mics that you're dealing with. On condensers, you have the tube mics, right? So the one you see behind me, this one, they're so shy, standing behind the amplifier. And this guy's a Toot Mic. So it runs on a tube. So as you know, tubes have certain properties. It gets warmer, sometimes not too bright, so it might sometimes very bright. So it depends on the tube, depends on the PCB board. But in general, tube mics tends to be richer. So you got to understand the various mics that you're dealing with, and what sort of interface that you are going for, or whether you have an interface in the first place. If you don't have, then it's time to look for one. Like I was saying earlier, I'm going to review this interface from SSL, right? So this is not a very expensive interface, and it's from SSL, go figure. Solid state logic, right? So depending on the interface that you have, sometimes some interface like the Upload Twin will come in with a bunch of plugins. But I have to tell you now, the Upload Twins, the UAD, Universal Audio, right? They are very expensive, but they're good, but you have to pay. So you can always use plugins from elsewhere, You can pay a package or whatever you can get. There are some free plugins, and you must learn how to use them. The compressors, some things that you need to know: the compressors, the EQ, the reverb, if you're gonna mix, and maybe delays. Yeah, and learn how to use EQ, how to kind of like play around and see what sort of vocal frequency you like, and how you record is another different thing, like the proximity between your mouth and the microphone. And of course you got to get a popper, right? You know what I'm talking, a popper, right? So because certain words that it would just pop the mic, so a popper would more or less make that not happen, to avoid all this popping sound. So for the proximity of the mic, it depends on the singer, how well he controls his voice. I've been singing in the studio for like many years, so I have this built-in compressor in my throat, so I kind of know, the distance and how much force and dynamics should I put into the microphone. So all this play a part in vocal recording. I've recorded like young singers who have no discipline, microphone discipline, and it was a nightmare for me. So normally in this case we would use a compressor a whole lot, because you want to compress the recorded vocals to such a state where it doesn't distort and it doesn't get too soft. But the downside of this is that once it's recorded that way, it's going to stick that way. There's nowhere you can release it. You can only compress, you cannot expand it in a way. You can't do that. The expander is meant for other things. So you're stuck with that recorded signal that you have. That's why a good singer is a good singer. You can't fault him. Like when I was recording in the studio a whole lot, some engineers would come. I'm playing acoustic guitar. He would like stick 2 or 3 mics, pencil mics here, and then my pencil mic at the fretboard and stuff like that. And I'm going, why are you sticking so many mics for? And then after recording, didn't sound that good. You just give me a U87, a Neumann. Stick it to where I feel is comfortable, because I'm hearing through my headphones. I know how my guitar sounds like, the sweet spot of my guitar. You are an engineer. You do not know my instrument. I know you meant well, but I know my instruments more than you. So if I hear a sound that I like, and that's the position I'm going to play, and that's going to be the sound that I want the guitar to be. So positioning of your mouth to the microphone is very important, like the positioning of your guitar to the microphone. It works on the same principle. So I hope that explains a little bit. You want me to get in depth, I can get in depth, but it's gonna be a long video. Right. Mozart, yes, Mozart. I forgot about him. Right. So, but drugs are twos, and most twos, yes. Drugs, yeah, bad. No, don't go there. If you haven't gone there yet, don't even go there. Don't even think about it. If you use distortion, overdrive, you have compression already. Yes, that's right, Gwenta. Okay, Boney M. Hi, Joe. Hey, you should be dancing, yeah. Right? Do I like Lionel Richie? I love Lionel Richie. I love his songwriting. And there's this guy, this dude from Commodores, right? Funky black band, but he's a country boy at heart. Go figure. And he writes the nicest ballads, you know. Yeah, they are like a bit, you know, corny at times, but you know, nevertheless, they're great songs. Great songs. I love his songwriting. Yeah. What is your guitar pick? Okay, I got this guitar pick from Harley Benton. This is like a 120 pick, real small. Not that small, but it's a triangle shape. Yeah. I think I did a video about guitar picks many videos back. I like triangle picks because I don't have to worry. You know, like, you know, sometimes you get those picks that are one directional. You know, it's such a bummer because, you know, you can only hold it in certain ways. Like, you know, picks like this. You know, picks like this. One you can see it. A teardrop pick, right? So there's only one way you can hold it, so you can probably hold it this way, right? But with a triangle pick, you can hold it anyway. And then I bought this pick from, good lord, stubby pick, stubby triangle. This pick costs a lot, right? So I don't know why I buy it. I just want to try it. It's super hard. So I was thinking, like, you know, just try it out. But I wasn't comfortable with this. In the end, I was comfortable with the cheap Harley Benton picks. These are really cheap, so I bought a whole bunch of them. Yeah, that's the hoarder in me. What is this thing? Okay. Right, so what do we have? Okay, bye then. Have fun. Bye, Jack. Nikita, what do you recommend for home playing? Maybe recording an interface, plug in maybe some processor or cabinet with a tube head at low volume. Record it through the same interface. Depend on where you stay, Nikita. If you're staying in an apartment and your neighbors are not happy with you playing an amp, then maybe you shouldn't be playing with an amp at all. Because when you're playing through an amp, you have to go through this whole process of miking the amp and then getting the right mic, you know, and you have to know what you're doing in a way. And the interface is another thing altogether, because if you have an interface that has plugins, that's fine. Uh, One of my earlier interface is from Line 6. It's called UX2. I'm still having it, you know. I have 2 units of that, and it's very cheap. And it came in with like an amp farm. Have you heard of an amp farm? The Line 6 amp farm. So it came in with a software that gives you a whole lot of things like guitar amps, bass amps, even preamps for microphones. I think it's very useful, and it worked. You know, I was recording with it through years before I changed to Apollo Twin, which I just changed like last year. You know. Well, I mean, if you, like I said, if you are able to record amplifier, a guitar amplifier, then buy one. But if, like I say, if you're staying in an apartment where you have nasty neighbors, then don't go there. You know, because an amplifier is an amplifier. You cannot tame a wild horse, and certain amplifiers have to be played loud, especially with the ones that you're talking about with the EL84 tubes. You know, there's no way you can play like real soft and hoping to get the effect that you want. You know, a Marshall amp cannot be soft. No way. You gotta blast it. Otherwise, you will not have that desired effect. And that's why when I was recording back in the days when I had Marshalls, the JCM 800, you know, I would not go into the room at all. I would be in a control booth. I would be playing in the control booth, and the amplifier would be in the recording booth. Yes, Barry White. Thank you. Another Joe. If you're asking me, I would not know because I haven't tried one yet. The 212 vintage cabinet. No, haven't tried one yet, so I wouldn't know. All right, Todd. Take care. I'm about to leave too, so Wow. Well, I've been up for 2 hours right now for this chat. It's okay. I hope you guys get something out of this tonight. How much gain is too much gain? When it starts to muddle up your playing in such a way where you have no articulation of your notes and you're not representing the notes in the way that you want it. There is good distortion, there's good gain, and there's bad gain. So you got to know how to differentiate the both. So once you have too much gain in such a way where you have no control over what you're playing, then it's bad. Right. So I'm gonna leave soon. I hope you enjoy this live chat that we have. I'm gonna try to do this like maybe like twice a month, once a fortnight. Um, after this thing, if you think that this timing is good at 1 a.m., like we just started, if it's good, then let me know. I would prefer to hold it a bit earlier so that I wouldn't, like, get too tired. I was thinking of holding like about 2 hours earlier than what we did today. But if you guys think that this is the right time to do it, then I'll just stick to this time slot. It don't really matter to me, right? That left, you're a metalhead. That's why you say that it's never too much gain. Sure, Joe. Bye, Jack. Right, so take care, you guys. Ciao. Bye bye. Bye, Chuck. Bye, RK. Bye, Jack. I thought you left. Bye, Alvin. Bye, Lynn. Bye, Alan. Oh, earlier it's fine? Cool. Let me know in the comment section so that I can plan the next one. Bye, Killer.